It's early morning and your senior dog shuffles slowly into the kitchen. Their back legs seem a little stiffer than they used to be. Their gray muzzle is prominent now. They look up at you with those same loving eyes they've had for years, and you reach into the pantry to grab their breakfast. You pour the kibble into the bowl like you always do, never thinking much about it. They eat it without hesitation, and you feel like you're doing the right thing, giving them what they need to stay strong and healthy in their golden years. But what if I told you that what you're putting in that bowl might actually be working against your senior dog's health? What if some of the foods you think are safe and normal for older dogs are actually speeding up aging, making their joints hurt more, affecting their digestion, and contributing to problems you thought were just inevitable parts of getting old? Have you ever noticed your senior dog seeming more tired than they should be, moving slower, or struggling with digestion, and thought to yourself that this is just what happens when dogs get older? Most people do. Most dog parents assume that a senior dog naturally becomes less energetic, less comfortable, and more prone to health issues. We think it's just time catching up with them. But here's what many veterinarians and pet health experts have discovered. A lot of what we call normal aging in dogs is actually a reaction to what we're feeding them. Once you understand which foods are actually working against your senior dog's body and which foods can support them through their golden years, everything changes. Suddenly, your senior dog might have more energy. Their joints might move easier. Their digestion might improve. They might look at you with that spark in their eyes again, instead of that tired, uncomfortable look. Today, I'm going to talk about 5 foods that you should never feed your senior dog after age 8. And I'm not talking about toxic foods. I'm not talking about things that will poison your dog. I'm talking about foods that are technically safe, but they're slowly working against your senior dog's body in ways you probably don't realize. These are foods that might be sitting in your kitchen right now. And once you understand why they're problematic for aging dogs, you'll understand why making this one change could mean the difference between a senior dog that's struggling and one that's genuinely thriving. The first food I want to talk about is one that most people think is perfectly fine for dogs. It's in almost every commercial dog food on the market. It's one of the cheapest ingredients, which is probably why it's so common. And it's quietly causing inflammation, weight gain, and joint problems in senior dogs everywhere. That food is corn. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Corn is a grain. It's not toxic. Dogs eat it. But here's what happens in a senior dog's body when they eat corn regularly. Think of your dog's digestive system like a finely tuned engine. When that engine is young, it can handle a lot of different fuel. But as your dog gets older, that engine becomes more sensitive. It doesn't tolerate certain things as well as it used to. Corn is high in omega-6 fatty acids, which, when consumed in high amounts without balance from omega-3 fatty acids, can trigger inflammation throughout the body. And inflammation is like a small fire burning under the surface. In a young dog, the body can manage it. But in a senior dog, this inflammation affects everything. It makes joints ache. It makes the immune system work harder. It contributes to digestive upset. And it accelerates the aging process. Most senior dogs that are fed corn-based diets develop inflammation, without their owners ever realizing it's happening. The dog seems fine on the surface. They eat the food. They don't get sick. But the inflammation is there, slowly affecting their mobility, their comfort, and their quality of life. Pet health experts have noticed that senior dogs moved noticeably better and showed more comfort when their owners switched away from corn-based foods. This is why the change matters so much. The second food that's problematic for senior dogs is wheat. Now, wheat is in a lot of commercial dog foods, especially the cheaper brands, and it serves the same purpose as corn. It's an inexpensive filler that makes kibble cheaper to produce. But in senior dogs, wheat creates a different kind of problem. As dogs age, their ability to digest and tolerate grains changes. Their gut becomes more sensitive. Wheat can irritate a senior dog's digestive lining, cause water retention, and contribute to bloating. It can also trigger allergic responses that you might not even connect to the food. You might notice your senior dog itching more, or having dry, flaky skin, or experiencing loose stools. And you might think it's just old age. But in many cases, it's the wheat working against their body. Here's where the mistake most owners make happens. When a senior dog starts experiencing digestive issues or itching, most loving pet parents think they need to try different foods, add supplements, or potentially put their dog on medication. But they don't realize that the problem might actually be solved by simply removing one ingredient. They keep feeding the wheat because they don't understand that wheat specifically becomes problematic for aging dogs. The body's ability to process grains changes. It's not a toxic thing, but it's a thing that works against a senior dog's comfort and longevity. The third food to avoid for senior dogs is soy. Soy appears in many dog foods as a protein source because it's cheap and effective at adding protein numbers to the label. But soy has several problems for aging dogs. First, soy is phytoestrogen-rich, which means it can affect hormone balance in senior dogs. In older dogs, hormone balance is already shifting naturally, and adding soy to the diet can amplify problems. Second, soy is often genetically modified and heavily processed, which means it comes with pesticide residues that can stress the liver. And the liver is the organ most affected by aging. You're essentially adding extra work to an organ that's already working harder in a senior dog's body. Please listen carefully to this part because this is where many owners miss something crucial. When you're choosing food for your senior dog, you're not just choosing what tastes good or what's affordable. You're choosing whether you're going to support your dog's aging body or make it work harder than it needs to. Every single meal is either helping or hurting. And that's not meant to make you feel guilty, it's meant to empower you. Because if feeding the right things can actually make your senior dog feel better, then you have power over this situation. The fourth food that needs to go from your senior dog's diet is excessive salt. Now, senior dogs need some sodium. Their bodies need it for normal function. But the amount of salt in many commercial dog foods is far higher than senior dogs need, especially if they have any history of heart issues or kidney concerns. As dogs age, their kidneys don't filter as efficiently. Their heart doesn't pump with the same strength. And high salt intake puts extra strain on both of these aging organs. Many senior dogs that develop hypertension or early signs of kidney problems are actually being fed diets that are too high in salt. The food tastes good to the dog, so they eat it, and the owner thinks they're doing fine. But the salt is silently stressing the organs. The fifth and final food to remove from your senior dog's diet is high amounts of processed treats and table scraps. I'm putting these together because they create the same problem. They contribute to weight gain and inconsistent nutrition. Senior dogs have slower metabolisms. They're less active. They need fewer calories than they did when they were younger. But many owners, especially loving ones who feel emotional about their aging dogs, start giving them more treats. You might think, he's older, he deserves something special. And I understand that feeling completely. But weight gain in a senior dog is one of the most damaging things that can happen. Extra weight puts strain on joints that are already aging. It puts stress on the heart. It makes movement harder. It accelerates the problems you're trying to prevent. So now that you understand why these 5 foods are problematic for senior dogs, the question becomes, what should you feed your senior dog instead? Because I don't want you to feel like you're just removing things. You need to know what to add and what to replace them with. The foundation of a senior dog's diet should be high-quality protein. And by high quality, I mean named meat sources. Your senior dog needs muscle to move. They need strong bones. They need a healthy immune system. All of this requires good protein. Look for foods where the first ingredient is a named meat like chicken, beef, fish, or lamb. Not meat meal or animal byproducts. An actual named meat that you can picture. The second component of a good senior dog diet is healthy fats. Specifically, fats that are high in omega-3 fatty acids. Fish oil is the classic one. Salmon, sardines, or other cold-water fish are excellent sources. These fats actually reduce inflammation in the body. They support joint health, brain function, and coat quality. In a senior dog, omega-3 fats are almost medicinal. They actively work against the aging process. The third component is fiber, but the right kind. Senior dogs often experience digestive issues, so they need fiber that supports digestion without causing bloating. Sweet potato, pumpkin, and brown rice are good options. These are easily digestible, and they support gut health. And the fourth component is supplements that specifically support aging. A good glucosamine and chondroitin supplement can genuinely help with joint mobility. A probiotic can help with digestion, and if your vet recommends it, omega-3 supplements can make a real difference in how your senior dog moves and feels. Now here's something important. When you make changes to your senior dog's diet, you need to do it gradually. Your older dog's digestive system is sensitive. If you suddenly switch from their current food to something completely different, they might get upset stomach, diarrhea, or vomiting. The safe way to transition is over 10 to 14 days. Start with about 75% of their old food mixed with 25% of the new food. After a few days, go to 50-50. Then after a few more days, 75% new and 25% old. Finally, transition to the new food completely. This gives their digestive system time to adjust. But before you try anything at home, there is one warning you need to know. If your senior dog has specific health conditions, especially kidney disease, heart disease, or diabetes, dietary changes need to be discussed with your veterinarian first. Different conditions require different nutritional approaches. What's right for a generally healthy senior dog might not be right for one with specific health challenges. So please, if your dog has been diagnosed with any serious condition, talk to your vet before changing their diet. Also, if your senior dog is struggling to eat solid food because of dental problems or swallowing difficulties, you might need to soften their food or consider different textures. If your dog stops eating entirely, suddenly loses weight, is vomiting repeatedly, is having difficulty breathing, seems to be in pain, or is acting extremely weak, these are signs that you need professional veterinary help. These aren't things to handle with dietary changes alone. Call your veterinarian or an emergency clinic if any of these things happen. But for most senior dogs dealing with general aging symptoms, joint stiffness, low energy, or digestive issues, changing away from these 5 problematic foods can actually create real improvement. You might be surprised at how much more your senior dog moves around when the inflammation decreases. You might notice them playing more, walking with more enthusiasm, and just seeming more like themselves. This is the part that really matters. Your senior dog doesn't have many years left. That might sound harsh, but it's the reality of loving a senior dog. Every single meal you give them is an opportunity to either support their aging body or make it work harder. Every choice you make about what goes in that bowl can affect how they feel, how they move, and how much quality time you have together. You're not just feeding your dog, you're making a choice about the quality of their remaining years. If you have been feeding these foods to your senior dog, please don't feel guilty. You didn't know that corn, wheat, and soy were problematic. You were doing what seemed normal and safe. Most people are. But now you know better, and that's what matters. What you do from this moment forward is what counts. The changes I'm suggesting aren't complicated. They're not expensive. You don't need prescription food or exotic ingredients. You just need to remove the foods that are working against your senior dog's body and add foods that support aging. You need to make sure the food is high in quality protein, contains healthy fats, has good fiber, and supports digestion. And you need to do this slowly and carefully so your dog's system adjusts well. The other thing to do is keep watching your senior dog. Pay attention to how they move. Notice their energy level. Watch their digestion. Notice their coat quality. These things will tell you if the dietary changes are helping. Most owners see improvement within 2 to 4 weeks of switching to a better diet. The dog might move a bit easier. They might have more energy. They might seem more comfortable. These changes happen because you've removed the inflammation-causing foods and added foods that support aging. And here's something that many people don't expect. Sometimes, when you feed your senior dog properly, they act younger. Not actually younger, but more like themselves. They might play more. They might walk with more enthusiasm. They might have that spark in their eyes that seem to fade with age. It's because you've removed the things that were making them uncomfortable and given their body what it actually needs. Your senior dog is lucky to have you. The fact that you're here, watching this, looking for answers about how to care for them better in their golden years, that tells me you love them deeply. You're not the kind of owner who just feeds whatever is cheapest or easiest. You're the kind who actually wants to understand what your dog needs and give them the best quality of life possible, especially now when time is precious. Give your senior dog a gentle hug tonight. Pay attention to how they move, notice the little changes, and know that the choices you make about their food can genuinely impact how they feel and how long you get to enjoy their company. If this helped you understand your senior dog a little better, hit the like button so more dog parents looking to care for their aging friends can find this information. Subscribe for more simple, safe pet health explainers that help you understand what your dog's body is trying to tell you. And tell me in the comments, do you have a senior dog? What breed? How old are they? And have you noticed any of these signs in your older dog? I love hearing from people who care as much about their dogs as you do. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.